श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विशेषपूर्वगणां विदेहे सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभः निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्ये सर्वदा। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नमो धर्माय महदे नमः कृष्णाय वेदसे ब्राह्मणेभ्यो नमस्कृत्य धर्मान् वक्ष्यामि शाश्वतान्। नमो भगवते तस्मै व्यासाय तदेशिते व्यासस्य प्रसादात् वक्ष्यामि नारायणकथामिमाम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। Previously, we were looking at Sanjaya returning to Hastinapura from the battlefield from Kurukshetra and then telling Dhritarashtra that after Bhishma's death, everybody had high hopes of Karna returning and rescuing them, supporting them, and rescuing them from the Pandavas. And likewise, Karna returned and he prepared his chariot with all the weapons and everything. He himself prepared for the battlefield, and then he joined the battlefield where everybody was welcoming him, and everybody thought forgot about Bhishma's death upon seeing Karna. So they thought somebody is there who is going to fight Pandavas. And at that time, Duryodhana asked Karna, whom do you think should be the commander? Because Bhishma was the commander, he was leading the Kurus in that battlefield, and now he asks who should be, upon Bhishma's death, who should be leading this battle from the Kauravas, and who should be the leader. And Karna suggests Drona's name. So we look at what happens after that from today onwards. So Duryodhana, listening to the what Karna has said, he goes to Drona and then he addresses him saying that in superiority of his birth, being a Brahmana, and nobility of his parentage, which is from Bharadwaja he was born, and his learning, his age, his intelligence, his prowess, skills, invincibility, knowledge of worldly matters, policy, and conquest of his own is in controlling of his senses and things like that. And also his ascetic austerities, his gratitude, and being superior he should be the leader of that army that Duryodhana has brought together. So he requests Drona to become that. He says, protect us like Indra is protecting the Devatas, like having you as a leader. We want to obtain the victory and defeat the Pandavas. Just as Kapali among the Rudras, Pavaka among Vasus, Kubera among the Yakshas, Vasava among Marutas, Vasishta among Brahmanas, Surya among all the luminous bodies, Yama among Pitrus, Varuda among aquatic creatures, and Chandra among stars, and Shukra among all the Diti's sons. Just like that, you are the foremost among all the forces here, so that's why you become the leader. And also, cunningly, Duryodhana had another plan as well. He says here that looking at you with holding your bow stretched to your ears, Arjuna will not strike. So, because Arjuna is so obedient to you, he will not strike you. So, without doubt, so we will be able to defeat Yudhishthira with his followers in this battle if you become the leader. So, hearing this, he requests Drona to become the commander of the troop, and Drona then responds saying that I know Vedas and Vedangas, the 6 branches of the Vedas, and also I know the science of human affairs, and I'm acquainted with Shaiva weapon, Pashupata weapon, and also all the diverse weapons of divine weapons. I will do everything for you. I will fight Pandavas, but I will not be able to kill Drishtadyumna because he was born to kill me. Because of that, I will not be able to kill. But I will find the Pandavas and I will kill Somakas. He will says that I will kill all those Panchalas coming with Pandavas, and I will fight. So here again, Drona is very careful in his words. He does not say that he is going to kill Pandavas. He says he will fight the Pandavas, but he will kill the Panchalas, except Drishtadyumna. And he says that, also says that Pandavas, they will not fight with me with happy heart. So they will not be very happy to fight with me because they have high respect for me as a guru and a Brahmana. So that's why they will not fight with me happily. So, like that, Drona agrees to become the leader, commander, and with that, all the preparations happen, all the rites and things that as one becomes the leader, they perform all those things they performed to Drona. He becomes the commander of command, takes the command of that forces, just like Indra does. Indra previously appointed Skanda as his commander. So after Drona's installation, everybody became very happy, and they all started. Brahmanas did their auspicious chanting, and then they all cried, shouted Jaya's victory to Drona. Like this, Drona was prepared, and Kauravas regarded themselves as already won this battle, having Drona as their leader. Because again, with Drona as leader, Pandavas are not going to strike happily, and they are not going to strike him. So, like this, Drona became the troops commander of that, and then he started arraying his troops. And with that, Jayadratha, king of Kalinga, Vikarna, they took the right wing of right side of Drona. Shakuni, Kritavarma, Kripa, Chitrasena, Vimsati, Dushasana, they all protected left wing, and Kambojas, headed by Sudakshina, Shakas, Yavanas, they all proceeded to support the Dushasana and others. So Shakuni supported the troops who on the left side. And the Madras, Trigartas, Ambastas, Westerners, Northerners, Malabas, Surasenas, Shudras, Maladas, Sauviras, and Kaitavas, Easterners, Southerners, all those with Duryodhana and Karna, they all from behind they protected Drona, and with them I always see obviously Karna was there, and on his with his large standard. So with Duryodhana he was there, and seeing Karna, everybody forgot about Bhishma's death, and all the kings thought Karna in this battle he will definitely, Pandavas will not be able to stand Karna, and all the Kauravas thought he is going to defeat Pandavas. And previously Bhishma, because of his he was very fond of Pandavas. That's why he did not do. But on the other hand, Karna is going to kill all of them. So that's what the Kauravas thought, and all of them prepared happily in that battlefield. So like that, Drona prepares a array called Shakata. Shakata is like a vehicle, cart, bullock cart type of thing. So he prepares an array like that, and on the other hand, Pandavas prepared a Krauncha, crane type of vyuha array. So in that again, Arjuna with Krishna, they were set up, they were prepared with their banner, that banner that's on there. And Arjuna led that vyuha from the Pandavas side. So that banner again, Arjuna's banner, it was shining, it was screaming like the end of the yuga coming. And then Sanjay here narrates that among all the bowmen, Arjuna is the foremost, among all the bows, Gandiva is the foremost, and among all the creature, Vasudeva, Krishna is the first, and among all the kind of chakras that's there, Sudarshana is the best. So having all those in that chariot, they proceeded and they prepared for this battle. So, like this, the two foremost of the people, Karna on the Kaurava side, Arjuna on the Pandava side, they came face to face. So, they looked at each other, and then the battle started. Drona in that battlefield, he proceeded with great speed towards Pandavas and the Panchalas. So, Drona in that battlefield, he starts attacking the Panchala forces and Yudhishthira's army that's coming and facing towards Kauravas. So he, with his weapons, he continuous array of arrows. He starts destroying the Pandava forces. So everybody that's coming towards Drona, he starts striking them. Even then, the Pandavas and the Srinjayas, the Panchala forces, they continue to rush towards him, but Drona start consuming that force that's coming there. Seeing like that slaughtered by Drona, Panchalas, headed by Drishtadyumna, all of them started trembling, all of them became worried. Drishtadyumna then, he himself is aware of all those celestial weapons. He comes there and he starts fighting Drona with arrow shower of his own. But Drona again, baffling him, he continues to fight and start destroying the Panchala forces. So in that battle, the Pandavas, the Panchalas, all of them were shaken by Drona with his shafts. Uh, Repeatedly, Drona broke that array, whatever that Pandavas tried to make and come in groups and battle him. They could not, and he destroyed the chariots, the horses, elephants, foot soldiers, everybody. Like this, Drona continues to strike. Then Yudhishthira addressing Drishtadyumna and Arjuna says, let this Drona be checked. Then all of them together, again, just like previously they did against Bhishma, Arjuna, Drishtadyumna, they received Drona with a large number of arrows. Similarly, they were supported by KK brothers, Bhima, Abhimanyu, Ghatotkacha, Yudhishthira himself, Nakula Sahadeva, Matsyas, and Shikandi, Draupadi's sons, Drishtaketu, Satyaki, all of them, Chitrasena, Yudsu, all of them went against Drona. So, like this, the battle continued, but Drona turning to Pandavas in anger, he started striking them and consuming that force that's coming towards him. So he strikes them from all sides. The foot soldiers, horses, elephants, everything were killed by Drona in large numbers. So like this, the battle continues, and Drona continues to send whoever coming approaching him. He starts sending them to Yama's place, and Yudhishthira's side, the soldiers, all of them started flying away in all directions with fear of Drona causing that much suffering. So again, Drona continues to fight with his hundreds and thousands of arrows towards his enemies. And he strikes like Yama himself, that division of Yudhishthira that he prepared, that army was being destroyed by Drona. So cutting through the heads of the soldiers who were decked with armaments, all the jewelry and things like that, the body, coat of arm, everything destroyed, just like the herd of cows attacked by a lion. So he was going and destroying that Pandava forces, the Panchalas, Pandavas. Still boldly they approached Drona with the bow in hand, and they all of them started facing Drona. Then the elephants, foot soldiers, horses, all of them were sent to Yama's place by Drona. Drona, like this, made earth fully covered with blood and scattered with weapons and shooting all these horses, elephants, dead, everything on the battlefield. So, with that, Drona's again, the Pandavas side, they continue to try and again resist Drona. And the five princes from Kekaya, the Panchalas, the Drupada, all of them came forward. Bhima, Arjuna, and Satyaki, Shikandi, Kashi King, Shaibhya, Shibi himself, all of them came again and then started striking Drona. So, but still again, Drona, they could not stand, even like a small young boy, even though aged in very old, Drona still battled like a young person battling in that battlefield. So the battle continues like this with large number of elephants, horses, all of them killed. Satyaki, Bhima, Arjuna, Abhimanyu, Drupada, Kashi king, all of them surrounded, but they all could not resist Drona. Like this, the Drona was fighting, and he was fighting at that time. Then Sanjay narrates here to tells Dhritarashtra that he was at last has been killed by Drishtadyumna, and having destroyed or killed two Akshoni of Pandava forces, Drona finally was killed by the Pandavas and the Panchalas of cruel action. So those Panchalas of cruel action, Drishtadyumna, that cruelly he killed Drona. So like this, when Drona was killed like that in that battlefield, all the creatures, everybody started saying that shame, and they all were disgusted by the actions of Drishtadyumna, having killed his guru and a Brahmana in that battlefield. All of them were disgusted by his actions. Devatas, Pitrus, all of them saw that strong carnivore, strong chariot rider Maharati, Drona killed in that battlefield. They all saw that, witnessed that killed by Drishtadyumna. But on the other hand, Pandavas, with that victory, they became very happy and they started giving huge shouts after killing Drona in that battlefield. So Sanjaya, coming to Hastinapura in one breath, narrates all the events that took place since his last visit. So he says, starts from Karna returning, Drona becoming the leader, and Drona fighting Pandavas, and Pandavas trying to resist, all of them together, all of them individually, and like this, Drona killing two Akshoni of Panchala forces, like this in this battlefield. Finally, he was killed by cruel Drishtadyumna. So Sanjay narrates that. So listening to this, Dhritarashtra starts asking questions, just like we saw at the beginning of Bhishma Parva, where after the hearing the death of Bhishma, Dhritarashtra asked all the events that took place. Just like this, he also here starts asking question to Sanjaya. He asks, how did Pandavas and Sanjayas kill Drona? Drona, who was aware of all the, he was very skilled, much skilled in all the weapons that's there. He was there. How was he killed? Did his chariot break down? Did his when he was striking, did his bow break down? And that's when Drishtadyumna was able to kill him. Or was Drona careless? So when he was killed, so what happened? So how did Drishtadyumna kill Drona, who was furnished with all the weapons and everything, and he is the foremost of Brahmanas? How could he kill him? So Dhritarashtra also says that it is destiny. So whatever that action that's taken, that's did not work. So Drishtadyumna, the Drona, has been killed by Drishtadyumna. How can that happen? Drona, who is aware of all the weapons, and he's the guru he's a guru of the bowmanship. So anybody, all these warriors that assembled there, all of them have learned from Drona himself. So how could he be killed? A guru can be killed like that. So what happened in that battlefield? So he asks again, and then he again once again blames destiny for all these things that's happening. And also he cries and he says that why my heart is not breaking hearing all these things, death of this Brahmana who is respected by even by all the learned Brahmanas. So how my heart is not does not break hearing this news. So again, he in that grief he asks that how this happened, and this all again he blames on Duryodhana. He says that Dhritarashtra says that Drona was equal to Brahaspati and Shukra himself, and how he could have been killed in that battlefield. Drona had this large red color uh, horses tied to him, who was like wind himself. They were moving so quick, and such a horse tied into him from Sindhu breed. Those horses were there. They were how he could be. What is the weakest point? How can he be killed in that battlefield? So again, even those horses were capable of bearing the elephant's load and everything. Such a horse were carried were carrying Drona. How could he be killed in that battlefield? How could he that foremost among the human heroes. How could he be killed in that battlefield? So, and also he asks about what are the great things that achieved by Drona in that battlefield. So, how did he do? Firmly adhering to his truth and with great strength, what did Drona do in that battlefield? So he asks about, did Pandavas run away from him, seeing him with all those celestial weapons in his? Did Yudhishthira with his brothers having Drishtadyumna, what did he do? Did he attack Drona, surrounding him and all the troops from all the sides? And Dhritarashtra himself, while asking all these questions, he himself come to a conclusion. He says that certainly Pandavas must have united. They must have united with all of them, all those Rathis, chariot riders. They all of should have come together, and then Drishtadyumna should have killed Drona at that time. Or he says that the Kekayas, Chedis, Kurushas, Matsyas, all the kings, all the other kings should have been surrounded Drona, and just like a snake being attacked by large number of ants, just like that, probably Drishtadyumna at that time probably have been killed. That's what I think might have happened. And again, he praises Drona, who has studied all the four Vedas with his Vedangas, uh, that is Upanishads, and then the Itihasas, Puranas. All those he has been studied, and he has been such a Drona. How he could have been killed in a battlefield by a weapon in the battlefield. So that Drona was proud of his spirit, and he was, but still humiliated many times, and we have seen that many times previously as well, where he was humiliated by Drupada, and then he had to serve Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. Even though he did not like many things, he had to serve, and so that's the humiliation he had to go through. So Dhritarashtra, thinking about all these things, he thinks that first he says that how can such a Brahmana who has learnt all the Vedas, Upanishads, and Itihasas, Puranas, everything he has studied, such a Brahmana be killed by a weapon. So he says that. Then also he thinks that Drona was humiliated many times, and even though it is undeserving, he attained what he should have attained because of his conduct. So Dhritarashtra here says that Drona's death by weapon is kind of justified because of his conduct, because of what he did. As a Brahmana, he should not have taken that path of going into battles and things like that and becoming a servant to somebody else. So, but he did that, following that, becoming a king's, doing whatever King Dhritarashtra, taking his food for that. He had to do it. So because of that conduct, he deserved it. So kind of it even though it is undeserving, it kind of explains. So he attained what he needed to attain. So, but again, Dhritarashtra thinks, and he thinks about how he could have been killed in that battlefield, such a Drona who is so strong, and from his presence, nobody could escape from his presence in that battlefield. So he was always never vanquished in the battlefield. So that's what Dhritarashtra says. But again, looking at Mahabharata, we see we don't see many instances where Drona went to battlefield itself. Okay, so the only instance I can recollect is Virata War, where he went, and in that battlefield he was defeated by Arjuna, right, along with Bhishma, Karna, Duryodhana, Dushasana, and everybody else. He was defeated. Drona was defeated in that battlefield. But apart from that, Mahabharata itself, as far as I can remember, does not talk about any other battles where Drona have taken part on. He was the teacher, guru for all of them, but the battle, Dhritarashtra here says that he was never defeated in any battle. So obviously, Virata War is probably an exception. Maybe Drona have been taken part in any other battles where Kauravas may have had battles, and that he may have taken part, but those details are not there. Okay, so but here considering how much he knew, Dhritarashtra says that he has been never vanquished in battle by anybody. And again, even in Virata war, Arjuna used that celestial weapon to make all of them become unconscious, and that's how he defeated them. Uh, so that's Arjuna wanted to end that war, so that's why the war ended. So we looked at in the Virata war as well. So Bhishma, for example, he respected that weapon, and that's why he acted like he got fainted, right? So that's how we saw it. So again, so Dhritarashtra here still trying to recognize the death and come terms with Drona's death. He again says that I cannot bear the death idea of his death, who is such a strong. How could Drishtadyumna, even though he is strong, how could he kill an invincible warrior who was never humiliated, whose fame was never tarnished? Such a Drona, how could he kill it? And then again, Dhritarashtra asked similar questions as he asked previously when Bhishma was killed. Who were there who fought with Drona, protecting him on the sides? Who preceded him in his backside behind him, and who obtained that difficult place, that is death, while fighting for Drona? And who were those warriors who protected on the left and right side of Drona? And who were there who struggled in that battle? Who were there who were reckless for their lives in that occasion and met the death while fighting for Drona? And who were those who were not there when Drona was killed? So, is there anybody who left that battlefield and left Drona on his own? So, again, he says that Drona, from fear, he will not leave. Even if others leave, he will not leave the battlefield. So he must have had the battlefield, and he would have fought that battlefield. So, and saying this, Dhritarashtra realizes that he is losing his senses. He is becoming unconscious, and he says that I'm losing my senses. I will talk to you a little bit later. And saying this, so it is like somebody fainting. Oh, I'm fainting, I'm fainting. That's their last words. And then they faint, just like that Dhritarashtra here. He says that I'm losing my senses, and after regaining my senses, I want to talk to you again. So he says that to Sanjaya, saying that don't go back to Kurukshetra. I want to talk to you more, but for now, he's, I'm losing my senses. So having said this, Dhritarashtra faints. So Vaishampana narrates here, says that having said those things and finding it very difficult to come to terms with Drona's death and struggling in that grief, Dhritarashtra faints and he falls on the ground. And he, seeing him fallen like that, all the attendants, they sprinkle with cold water and fan him and things like that. All the ladies of the house, they come and gently start rubbing his hands and feet and things like that. They start rubbing, and all those ladies who were there, they were all crying in tears, seeing their king fall on the ground like this. And having remained like this on motionless on the ground for some time, Dhritarashtra once more shivers, and then shaking his body, he again comes back to his senses, regains his senses, and then he starts again asking Sanjaya about the incidents that occurred in that battlefield. Dhritarashtra regaining his sense, he says that he starts about Yudhishthira, that Yudhishthira who is like a sun who dispels the darkness, and he always rushes against his enemies like an angry elephant, and he is hostile, very never been defeated, and he is that Dhritarashtra, that Yudhishthira, how did he fight, and whether how did he what did he do against Drona? Did he keep Drona away in that battlefield? And again, he explains the strengths of Dhritarashtra, Yudhishthira. He says he is the best among the men who has killed many brave warriors in the battlefield. Yudhishthira is the strongly armed, and his intelligence, courageous, and his unbaffled strength. and who is unassisted by anyone. He can consume the entire Duryodhana's army by look alone when he is angry. He can consume like that, but his self-restraint is it's such a king. What did he do? How did he battle against Drona? Then he talks about Bhima, who is having 10,000 elephant strength, who is when he advances, nobody can resist him. How did he face up to Drona? Then he asks about how did Arjuna face Drona in that battlefield. He is again coming there like lightning, like coming like that, with arrow showers, like Indra pouring rain, like just like that. Arjuna comes in that battlefield. How did he face Drona with that Gandiva? How did he pour those weapons against Duryodhana's army, and how did he face Drona? And when he came to that battlefield, did Drona, did Arjuna's mind, did it become, what was the state of Arjuna's mind? Did Arjuna advance uh, upon all of you and killing the troops with those Gandiva and uh, his weapons? Did Duryodhana take with his arrows? Did he try to resist Arjuna? What did Arjuna do in that battlefield, and how did he battle? Then also he asks about Nakula and Sahadeva, how did they face up to Drona? And then he asks about Satyaki, who is again uh, very strong firmness, and he's always truthful and brave, and he always following brahmacharya vow, and his very great strength, and is practicing truth, never cheerless and never defeated in the battle, and who is learned all the weapons from Arjuna, and who is equal to Krishna himself, Krishna and Arjuna in that battle. uh, Such a Satyaki, how did he keep Drona away, and how did he face up to Drona and that Satyaki, who is equal to Balarama himself in use of weapons and strength and fame? So such a Satyaki who is as known for his truthfulness, firmness, intelligence, heroism, such a and knowledge of Brahma and highest weapons. That Satyaki, how did he face Drona? Then also he asks about Drupada's sons Uttamoja and Yudhamanyu, who were protecting Arjuna on the both sides in that battlefield. How did they battle Drona in that battlefield? And then Drishtaketu, king of Chedi, how did he rush against Drona? And Ketumat, how did he battle? And Shikandi, the best of the Drupada's sons, how did he battle in that battlefield? And then Abhimanyu, who is equal to Krishna and Arjuna himself, and he is all known. He's known all the weapons and truthful and brahmacharya vow, and he's equal to Arjuna and Krishna, who is his splendor is like Surya himself, and his intelligence is like Brahaspati. Such Abhimanyu, how did he battle Drona? And how did uh, Draupadi's sons battle? How did Drishtadyumna's sons, uh, who gave up their childhood years for learning the weapons from Bhishma? So this is something new here. Dhritarashtra mentions here. Drishtadyumna's sons, Kshatranjaya, Kshatradeva, Kshatravarman, Manada, Dhritarashtra says that they waited upon Bhishma. So they learned those weapons from Bhishma himself. So they had Bhishma for their guru. And how did they keep Drona away in that battlefield? And then also Chekitana, Kekeya brothers, how all of them fought against them. And also then Dhritarashtra asks Yutsu, his own son, Dhritarashtra's own son. So how did he, if you remember, beginning of the battle, Yutsu switched sides from Dhritarashtra's side, Kurus to Pandavas. So how did he battle that Drona and his army? So again, he asks that Yutsu had a battle for 6 months at Varnavrat, and he had defeated killing, and he defeated many bowmen in that battlefield. And also at Varanasi, Yutsu overthrew, he defeated many chariot riders, and he took in that Swayamvara, he took a maiden from Kashi in that Kashi Swayamvara, defeating many warriors in that Swayamvara. So that Yutsu, how did he battle? And then he asked about Drishtadyumna, how did Drishtadyumna battle? So again, he was born to kill Drona. How did he battle while protected from Shikandi, Arjuna? How did he battle? So, and also he asked about Shaibya and who is Vishinara's son. So, how did they battle? And Virata, Gadodgaja, all of them, how did they battle? And then finally he asks about Vasudeva, Krishna himself. So, how did, when Krishna is there, who is the Atma of everything, he is the master of all the worlds, Lord of all, he is the eternal one, who is infinite power, that Narayana, when he is there in that battlefield, when all the wise people talk about his great things, how did he battle? And how did he Drona, and how did he face up to them? How did he? What did he do? So, and Dhritarashtra says that great people talk about that Krishna's greatness. I will also tell you about those things. So Dhritarashtra then explains about Krishna's greatness. He says that Krishna, that Govinda is like there is nobody else like him, and he was brought up in the covered Nanda's place, and while he was there, well, he was a small boy itself. He displayed his strength to the three worlds. He killed Hayaraja, also known as Keshi, on the shores of Yamuna, who came as a horse face. So he, like a horse, that demon, he killed him, Hayaraja, Keshi. So that's why he was known as Keshava. And then he is also in this childhood with his two arms, bare arms. He killed a Danava named Arishta, who came in the form of a bull. He killed him and sent him to the death. And then he also killed asuras named Pralamba, Naraka, Jamba, Pita, Mura. And then he killed Kamsa. And he defeated Jarasandha with his followers. He defeated them. And then with Balarama, he Krishna in the battlefield, he defeated Surasena's king of Surasena's name Sunaman, and he defeated who is the second brother of Kamsa himself. He defeated him, and then he defeating the king of Gandharas, he took away the bride in that Swayamvara, and then he defeated Jarasandha and in mm, many Akshoinis of troops of Jarasandha he defeated, and then he killed Shishupala at Yudhishthira's Rajasuya sacrifice, just like an animal being killed, just like that he killed him, and then he killed about Shalva, King Shalva, and his city by the sea called Sauba city. He killed that. We looked at that at the beginning of Vanaparva, where Pandavas in the forest, Krishna comes there and he explains that I was in a battle with Shalva and destroyed Shauba, that city at that time. That's why I could not come and stop the dice game. Right, so that's what Krishna explains that we looked at in the Vanaparva. So that's what Dhritarashtra reminds here, that while explaining the greatness of Krishna, he says that he disciplined, and also Krishna defeated Angas, Vangas, Kalingas, Magadas, Kashis, Koshalas, Vatsas, Gargyas, Kurushas, Poundras. He defeated Avanti, Southerners, Mountaineers, Dasherakas, Kashmiragas, Auragas. He defeated Pishachas, Samudgalas, Kambojas, and many others. So he defeated all those things. So that Krishna is there with the Pandavas. So this glory of Krishna, we'll continue looking at next time when we gather, when what